Hat Hole Home Video.
I'm not talented.
I hope they kill you.
Welcome everybody to Hat Hole Home Video. Today oh my god, I'm gonna try to keep it short. I feel like this is just this situation and trying to explain my feelings. Anytime I try to explain my feelings, it becomes a long, rambly mess, right? So I'm gonna try to keep my thoughts concise, but we'll see where it goes. Man, I'm guessing it's just gonna derail. But the James Rolfe situation, maybe very briefly, because if you're finding this video, you know the situation. But for my subs, who maybe don't follow, here we go. So James Rolfe is the angry video game nerd. He is, I'm trying to do it like the Micro Machine guy. Pasadena, California, no. So James Rolfe is the angry video game nerd. He's been he's been a huge YouTuber for over a decade. He's really one of the kind of like big OG YouTubers. He's been doing it this whole time. Very successful business. He has gotten into very weird drama over the last couple of years because it was revealed that he basically sold himself to a company called Screenwave, and they had been doing more and more of the behind the scenes of the channel and the running of the channel and writing scripts and all this stuff. And it turned out more and more James, who is really put out there as like one of the great kind of one-man band YouTubers, a guy that like really makes it all happen himself and is a big inspiration to a lot of people like me who just do everything on their own. I film everything, I edit everything. When there's scripts, I script everything. He's a guy that a lot of people like me look up to. And when it started being revealed that he wasn't really the one-man band anymore, now he was just kind of like the hired on-screen personality, and other people were editing, other people were writing scripts, other people were doing all this stuff behind the scenes, and really he was becoming seemingly pretty disengaged with the content, and really minimally involved with the content. It really started rubbing people the wrong way. A lot of people really hate the Screenwave guys, who started showing up in Cinemassacres, which Cinemassacre is the name of James's YouTube channel. Angry Video Game Nerd is a character and a series that appears on Cinemassacre. But he was doing these rental reviews, which, by the way, he was doing when I was doing my rental review, like my VHS reviews. And there were multiple times where I would say, oh, I'm going to do this movie. I'm going to talk about Event Horizon. And then it would be like the day before I sat down to film a review of Event Horizon, they would post an Event Horizon review. It was just obviously pure coincidence. I'm not like, obviously that's all it is. But multiple times, like I would just be like, oh, like I don't want to look like I'm copying them. So I would like do something else. But point is, and it's totally fine because those reviews did kind of generate a lot of interest in VHS stuff and older movies. It's like how Red Letter Media does, granted they're, maybe doing things that I view is in competition with what I do. But when big YouTubers do these things, it's only good because it only puts more eyes and interest on a particular subject or a movie or VHS tapes, whatever it is. I'm rambling, but at least I'm rambling quick. If they say, don't go, what do you say? I'm going nowhere slowly. Like if you got to go nowhere, go somewhere fast, or go nowhere fast. I butchered it. It's a Meatloaf lyric. Point is, so it was discovered that James was really not doing any of the behind the scenes stuff. People didn't like the Screenwave people. I don't care about the Screenwave people. A lot of people, like, all of this is just like, anytime they have an opportunity to dump on those guys, I don't care. A couple of them I actually like when they're, on screen. I like their personalities. I like what they have to say. A couple of them I find annoying. Ultimately, it's a wash. I don't care. I don't care. But there started to be, so there's all this animosity because people now know that it's really Screenwave's channel. And James is, a channel that was really built on the idea of one guy sharing his nostalgia for video games, for movies, for all these things from his childhood. Sound familiar? Welcome to Hat Hole Home Video. But now it's fake. That was the view. Now it's fake. He's just a guy reading other people's scripts, and he hands that footage off to someone else who edits it. It's not really about this one guy sharing his love and nostalgia for these things. So bring us to last week, I guess. Monster Madness, another series that he does on the channel. But this one he does in October. He'll do 31 days of movie reviews. They're just quick little, usually like 4 or 5 minute long, but we'll say 5 to 10 minute long movie reviews. And he did it for many years, and he's had kind of an extended break from it, but it was back this year. And it's really viewed as like, and he goes out there and he says, this is the thing that I love to do. This is where my passion is. And the fact that it was coming back had a lot of people really excited about it. He had been, seemingly very excited about it. The first episode goes up, and immediately people they're sus. The writing in it doesn't sound like James. People know how James talks. I mean, he wrote, over like a decade's worth of Monster Madness reviews. People know how he writes. People know how he talks. And there was something off about the script, and people did some searching, and they found that chunks of this Monster Madness script were taken from an old movie review, as the movie was 28 Days Later. Not 28 Days, starring Sandra Bullock. Now that's a real horror movie. But some specific phrasing, people Googled and found this old review, and it turned out that sizable chunks of James's Monster Madness video, the script, were copy and pasted. Some parts were, reworded, but there was enough there that was word for word that people were able to find this old review, and they got called out for plagiarizing old reviews. Here's another hot take. Don't care. Plagiarism? I get, the concept of plagiarism, I'm against. But specifically in this situation, don't care. Do not care. It's YouTube. It's Monster Madness. I don't care. We're already at the point where James isn't writing the script, isn't editing, is doing nothing except reading somebody else's script and handing that footage off. I don't care that someone else copy and pasted chunks out of a review. It's already gone. The soul is already gone from these things. I don't care. I watch lots of videos on YouTube, historic little mini documentaries about disasters, things like that. Fascinating Horror. Great YouTube channel if you just want to zone out and just watch a million little 10-minute mini documentaries about awful historic disasters. Point is, there's no expectation from me that fantastic or fascinating horror. Did I say fantastic or fascinating? Fascinating horror. I have no expectation that he's writing a script from scratch for every one of those videos. I don't think I assume that he goes on Wikipedia and reads through these things and pulls a bunch of stuff out of it and rewords it to fit his voice and his style, and boom, there you go. When it comes to YouTube, I don't care that much. I wouldn't do it, But I don't care. Like, I just want to be entertained. That's all I want to be, is entertained from a YouTube video. But people jumped all over this. They started, you know, for plenty of people, yes, plagiarism, giant deal, make or break. But here's the part where I started hitting a make or break moment. The excuses that came after. Right away, it was weird things from the head of Screenwave about that it was there was I think he was saying like James had saved tons of material about like other people's reviews and other things that were all just compiled in some kind of folder on the computer or something. And somehow those things that were supposed to just be resources to use for building your own script somehow got copy and pasted in, and they just got incorporated into the script. But it's weird because he's saying basically that like James had been saving these old reviews and things. He was kind of putting it on James a little bit in a weird way, but not. And there's a lot of putting it on someone, but not in this situation from like all sides. And that's leaves a stinky taste in my mouth too, that nobody could just go like, yep, boom, we effed up, we copy and pasted something because we got 31 scripts to write, like, sorry. Like, that's what they should have said. But they didn't. They lied to us. And they started making up all these nonsensical excuses, which are called lies, because they're not true, and we know they're not true. But it turned into like, oh, this stuff was in a folder and somehow it worked its way into the script. We don't know, like, that's crazy that would happen, right? Yeah, except for the fact that somebody had to physically copy and paste text into a script, and then they made that's a choice. That doesn't just happen. The computer doesn't do that for you. So someone made that choice, and then someone made the choice to take that text and start deleting words and writing new words in their place that are similar words, but not the exact same words. So someone copy and pasted that and then rewrote it on top of it, basically. So it's all a lie. Like, this is intentional, and it's not the plagiarism part that bothers me. It's the part where they lied to our faces about it. And so that's the head of Screenwave. He comes out and says this. I'm not going to go into who probably wrote it, because ultimately I don't care. It doesn't matter. But people who are in the know that one of the guys associated with Screenwave came out and said, oh, like, I'm writing the scripts for Monster Madness this year. Cool, blah, blah, blah. Fine. We know who probably wrote the script. Point is they're like, oh, all this weird stuff happened. We don't understand. Then James comes out with an apology video, and this is where I'm done. When I saw James's video, I said, I'm done with you guys. I'm done with you as a person. I'm done with watching your videos. I'm just over it. Because again, it's not all these other things that everyone else gets all bent out of shape about. It's James came on to YouTube to apologize for the plagiarism, and over again he said, well, I had nothing to do with it. Like, you know, that sucks that happened, and that's awful, but I didn't write the script. I had nothing to do with it. All I did was read it. And it's like, right there, I'm already mad at you, because you always talk about Monster Madness as this is the most important thing. This is the thing you're most passionate about as far as the content you create for YouTube. And you just told us that you just explained your level of investment and involvement, even though you're like, well, I write some of the scripts and I outline some of the scripts, and it all is lies. It's all lies. He doesn't write any of the scripts. And I think that's really obvious from the situation we're in. I don't believe him now when he tries to sell us that, like, no, I love this. This is the most important thing to me. But, like, I don't do anything about, like, all I do is read the script when they hand it to me. trust you anymore. And and then he said too, he's like, oh, and it was an intern at Screenwave that wrote the script. And again, it's all like protecting people instead of just saying, and again, because this is what bothers me. At the end of the day, none of this matters. This isn't national security we're talking about. It's just like, it's a dumb little YouTube channel. And I mean, it's a dumb big YouTube channel. But if they had just said like, yeah. And again, the person who wrote the script, if they would have just said, I got 31 scripts to write for Monster Madness. I cut a corner, and it's lame, and it's a bad thing to do, and I understand that. I was just trying to pound out 31 scripts, and I took an easy road, and I shouldn't have done it, and it's embarrassing, and I'm embarrassed, and I'm sorry. That's what they should have said. But instead, you get all of the Screenwave, double talk, not saying anything, saying a lot while not saying anything, something I know quite a bit about. But, see the last 15 minutes of this video. But then James says it was an intern at Screenwave, and then my brain goes, well, so what happened? You sold your channel to Screenwave so that they would take on all the work, and you could do as absolutely little as possible. And Screenwave has, a handful of it's a handful of employees, I guess. And you're telling me that those like 5-6 people, whatever, like they can't handle knowing months in advance that this is coming. They worked on this for months and months, that they couldn't handle, 31 5-minute scripts or whatever, that they got, that this little company, which is really just like whatever it is, 5 or 6 guys, they hired an intern to write scripts. That doesn't make any sense, and it's a lie, right? It's a lie. So we know who wrote the scripts, and now you're calling, and maybe that person, maybe they called them an intern when they, I would call it a freelancer, because I don't think the person is an actual Screenwave employee. I would call it freelancing. I would have said they hired a freelancer to help fill in the scripts, to help write some of the scripts. But they said intern. And I don't believe that. So in all of this situation, I just keep coming back to that you are all looking your fans dead in the eye and lying to them. Like just flatly lying to their faces, through the lens of a camera. And I don't like that. And then you have that stinky taste in my mouth, coupled with the fact that just it exposes and exposes and exposes again and again and again through these recent situations how little James cares about this content, about doing any of it. He's only doing it as a job now, where it was something that he started as, granted, I'm sure he started it as hoping that it would become some kind of business, that it would become a way to pay the bills. But at its core, it was a guy sharing his love and nostalgia for these things from his past. And that illusion has just been completely shattered in this recent drama. And that's the part that I care about. I don't care about plagiarism. I don't care about not liking the guys at Screenwave. I don't care about those things. I care about being lied to, and I care about that it's all fake now. That it's all there's no soul in any of it anymore. And that's what I care about. So for those reasons, I'm out. I have unsubscribed from Cinemassacre, and I'm not telling anybody to do anything. Like, I'm not telling people to unsubscribe. I'm saying I unsubscribed. Because I've had enough, and I'm pushing away from the table. You know what I mean? I'm not going to follow or support anything that Cinemassacre or James does in the near future. And, you know, I've always said I know he wants to be a filmmaker, and I've been excited to see him really chase that dream and see what's next, see what the next chapter is. But it just kind of seems like it's just going to be this merry-go-round forever now of just soulless YouTube. I don't know. Whatever it is. I don't know. I don't know what else to say about it. I've hit the end, and I have no idea how to end it. So I'm just saying it's a huge bummer. He is a guy that I very much looked up to as a source of inspiration for reasons to be on YouTube, to not be someone who's obsessed with trendy and obsessed with analytics and numbers and all this stuff. It's like, he was a for love of the game kind of guy, and now we know he really isn't that anymore, and it's a bummer, because I aspired to be like him, and now, I guess now I can just aspire to be me, right? That's what we'll take away from this. For anybody who viewed him as a hero and is really disillusioned right now, let's all just be ourselves. Let's all be us. Let's not worry about being like someone. There you go. I don't know. I'm going to get out of your hair. I've talked for way too long about this. Thank you everybody so much for watching. If you like VHS tapes, if you like old video games, if you like that kind of stuff, and are looking for somewhere to hang out, Hat Hole Home Video is a pretty good place. So please hit that subscribe button, like button, comment button. Yeah, that whether you, and the patrons. Oh my God, I almost did the outro without thanking the patrons. Thank you to the patrons. You make all of this possible. You're the best. And whether you are a dirty dog sleeping in the sun or an alley rat eating up the night, you always are welcome here at Hat Hole Home Video. Bye-bye.